warm June evening in the small town of McCleary, Washington. The air carried that gentle summer stillness that only small towns seem to know. It was the kind of place where neighbors waved from porches, children rode bikes until the streetlights flickered on, and parents believed they could let their kids roam freely, trusting they would always come home. But on this night, one little girl's walk home would turn into a haunting mystery that shattered that sense of safety forever. 10-year-old Lindsey Baum had spent the afternoon at a friend's house, just a few blocks from home. It should have been a routine evening, nothing unusual, nothing dangerous. But Lindsey wasn't like most kids that night. She had a feeling, a dark unease she couldn't quite explain. Looking at her mother before leaving, she said something chilling, words that would echo for years. "Mom, I just have a bad feeling." At first, Melissa, her mother, brushed it off as childish nerves. What could happen in such a small town? But that unease was real. Lindsey hugged her friend goodbye, promised to call later, and started her short walk home. It was a walk she had made countless times. Just a 10-minute stroll, 1 mile of quiet streets lined with modest houses and tall pine trees. The sun had already dipped behind the horizon, and the last light of the day stretched long shadows across the road. Minutes passed, but Lindsey didn't arrive home. At first, Melissa thought maybe Lindsey got sidetracked. Maybe she stopped to chat with a friend or lingered at the corner store. But as the minutes turned into an hour, fear began to claw at her. She called neighbors, retraced Lindsey's route, shouted her daughter's name into the darkening night. There was no answer. By midnight, panic had gripped the entire community. McCleary may have been small, but the love for Lindsey was huge. Volunteers poured into the streets, carrying flashlights, calling her name, combing alleys, fields, and forests. Police set up command posts, helicopters scanned from above, and 9 units searched for a scent. It was one of the largest searches in Washington's history. Yet, despite the hundreds of eyes and ears searching, the night ended with no sign of Lindsey. It was as if she had simply vanished into thin air. Investigators began to piece together what little they could. A man in a white car had reportedly been seen circling the area in the days leading up to Lindsey's disappearance. Children had whispered that someone strange had approached them near the park. There were stories of a man who walked into a bathroom where young girls played, unsettling them. And Lindsey herself had told her mother more than once that she thought someone was following her. One man in particular caught the eye of investigators, Tim Hartman. He was a neighbor who claimed he wasn't in town that night, but surveillance cameras told a different story. He had driven down the very road Lindsey disappeared on, around the very time she went missing. Even stranger, later that evening, he showed up at Lindsey's house, offering to help her mother search. Some saw it as kindness. Others saw it as guilt. Another man lied about staying home that night, only to later admit he had been out. Every inconsistency, every suspicious movement was logged and investigated. But there was no hard evidence, no witness who could say they saw Lindsey taken. Days became weeks. The search expanded into the forests and rivers surrounding the town. Flyers with Lindsey's picture, her big brown eyes, her shy smile, were plastered everywhere. Melissa gave interviews, begging anyone with information to come forward. But the silence was deafening. As the years passed, hope began to fade. Lindsey's bedroom stayed frozen in time. Her books, her toys, her clothes waiting for her to return. Melissa clung to that hope, praying her daughter would be found alive. But the truth was far more devastating. 8 long years after that summer night, in 2017, hikers exploring a remote forest stumbled upon human remains. DNA testing confirmed what Melissa had feared but prayed against. It was Lindsey. The little girl who had once said she had a bad feeling was right. She had sensed danger. She had felt the shadow that lurked nearby. But even with her remains discovered, one question still hangs heavy. Who took Lindsey's life? To this day, her killer has never been brought to justice. Lindsey Baum's story is more than a tale of loss. It's a chilling reminder of how fragile safety can be, even in the most ordinary of places. One short walk home, One fleeting moment, and a child's entire future was stolen. For Melissa, and for all who loved Lindsey, the search for answers continues, and the hope for justice burns on.